Well, no wonder, Senator Cotton, they're all overjoyed over a little drop in gas prices. They don't really have much else. Senator Tom Cotton in Focus, Republican in Arkansas and member of the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees. Your reaction to it all?
Well, Harris, remember, what's happening with gas prices and electricity prices, not an accident, it's not inadvertent. This is what Joe Biden and the Democrats wanted. He promised in the campaign that he would end America's use of fossil fuels. Barack Obama's energy secretary once said that gas needed to cost here what it costs in Europe, which is about $8 to $10 a gallon. This is a highly ideological war against American energy. And look what it's gotten us. The president has not just had to walk back his own past criticisms of Saudi Arabia, but try to get more oil from Iran and Venezuela. Well, you know, we have plenty of oil in Arkansas and Louisiana and Texas and North Dakota. We could produce enough oil and gas and coal here to be totally energy independent and to support our allies overseas. But Joe Biden and the Democratic Party continue to wage their ideological war against American industry.
So what is it like on Capitol Hill, Senator? You know, I mean, Democrats are straight ahead looking at what looks like it's going to be a red wave. And they've got a president really in trouble on these issues. And each of your states, I mean, everybody feels the inflation and the pressure on energy. What's it like where you are?
Well, I think that they're caught between a rock and a hard place in the Democratic Party. You have a lot of Democratic politicians up here who depend on the votes of the people, and those people are seeing $4 and $5 a gallon of gas across the country. Yet they have highly ideological aides and activists who want gas to be that high. Remember, you've had Democratic senators and cabinet members saying that, well, if gas is high, you should just go buy an electric car. I don't think, Harris, that many Arkansans who are worried about $4 a gallon gas are going to be able to afford a $60,000 electric car, which, by the way, won't work on their dirt roads and on their farms in the first place.
Wow. And not to mention the fact that, I mean, it's going to take us a minute to get some infrastructure so you can feel confident to drive on a battery for several hundred miles. I do want to get to this. The Virginia Lieutenant Governor says she's definitely not impressed by it.
Then the fact that he's begging the Saudis to produce more oil, but we can do that here very well. We were a net producer before you were president. We can be that again. It is your policies that have gotten us here. Inflation is not temporary, as you finally acknowledge. And stop gaslighting us. We know the truth. We're paying for it every day.
Stop gaslighting us. Your quick reaction, then we'll move.
Yeah, I mean, Harris, remember, we're still more than 1 million barrels a day below where we were in American oil production before the pandemic in 2019. Where did that oil go? It didn't just disappear. It's still sitting underneath the ground in the United States. We could be producing it. We could have gas prices under control, just like we could be producing more natural gas and more coal and more nuclear to bring down electricity prices for Americans as well. But the Democrats refuse to do so.
That is so true. Where did it go? Because at least for 18 months of that, we were in a lockdown across this country. It's not like we were driving all of our oil away. Okay, we'll move to this. More Democrats coming out against their fellow party member, Senator Joe Manchin, after he blocked President Biden's climate agenda last week. Former Clinton Labor Secretary Robert Reich called for dramatic action. Here's what he wants. By kicking Manchin out of the party, Democrats could at least go into the midterms with a more realistic pitch. It looked like we had control of the Senate, but we didn't. Now that you know who the real Democrats are, give us the power and we'll get it done. That's all a quote. However, Senator Manchin, well, he's not backing down.
So people that are criticizing me, my own colleagues, I understand that. I understand their aspirations. I understand where they're coming from. Not the criticisms I'm getting from the people who are saying, well, Joe Manchin strings it. I'm not stringing you along. Don't you believe inflation is the #1 thing in America right now that's hurting every human being? I'm sorry. If they don't care about that, I do. I'm more concerned about that than anything.
By the way, Senator, that was just in the last hour. What are they going to do? They've got Manchin problems again.
Well, if they want to kick Joe Manchin out of their party, you know, I bet Republicans would be more than happy to welcome him into ours. One of the best Republican presidents in American history, Ronald Reagan, was himself a former Democrat. But at root, these people, these liberal activists, their main complaint isn't with Joe Manchin. It's with the voters of West Virginia who depend on coal production. Or it's the voters in places like North Dakota who just a few years ago used to elect Democratic senators, but now only elect Republicans because the Democratic Party has declared war on the way of life of America's energy workers. That's the real problem that these liberal Democrats have, not with politicians in Washington, but with the American people. And I think the American people are going to let Democrats know what they think about that in November.
All right. Senator Tom Cotton, always great to have you in focus. Thank you.
Thank you.